Hey guys, welcome back. So I'm really diving into the research about single-use plastic. So I am on earthday.org. It's the official site of Earth Day, I suppose. It's the Earth Day Network site. And I'm just reading through some of their single-use plastic facts. And I am blown away. This is crazy. They say that humans buy about 1 million plastic bottles per minute in total. That's about 50 billion water bottles per year. And they say it averages to about 13 plastic bottles per month for every person in the United States. That's crazy. And then they say that only 23% of plastic bottles are recycled in the US. That's ridiculous. Like, that is the one thing that you know for sure can be recycled, and they're not being recycled. That's crazy. They also go on to say that 500,000 straws are used in the world every day. There's so many places now that are not giving straws, and you know, how easy is it to refuse a plastic straw? So hopefully that number can go down. Here's one that really just blows my mind is single-use plastics frequently do not make it to a landfill or are recycled. A full 32% of the 78 million tons of plastic packaging produced annually is left to float in our oceans. The equivalent of pouring one garbage truck of plastic into the ocean every minute. And this is expected to increase to 2 per minute by 2030. That's in 11 years. That's crazy. And by 2050, they say it'll be 4 garbage truckloads per minute. This is just wild. I mean, this is way... Alright, that is crazy. How about we move on to another thing here. Alright, let's go to National Geographic. Let's see. National Geographic says that 40% of plastic produced is packaging, used just once, then discarded. That to me is like, in the grocery store, you get a plastic bag and you put one tomato in it, or you put one apple in it. You know what? Why do we need that? Also on nationalgeographic.com, they're talking about plastic bag use, and it says that shoppers in the United States use almost 1 per resident per day. National Geographic also cites a fact that less than a fifth of all plastic is recycled globally. Less than a fifth of all the plastic. Again, National Geographic says nearly 1 million plastic beverage bottles are sold every minute around the world. And in 2015, Americans purchased about 346 bottles per person. That's 111 billion plastic beverage bottles in all. These numbers are crazy. I mean, how hard can it really be to put water in a reusable cup, or to, you know, shy away from these plastic bottles, try to find the glass alternative, glass bottles, or even aluminum bottles. You know, anything's better than plastic. Let's see how good these aluminum cans are. Alright, so this is from Waste Management, and it's a page on what can and can't be recycled. So okay, so aluminum cans is the next thing. They've always been something you can recycle, but what really happens to them, and are they really recycled, or are they sent to the recycling facility and only some of them are actually recycled, or some then sent off to, you know, whatever. So Waste Management says that since the cans are 100% recyclable, we could drastically reduce the energy needed to produce brand new cans simply by recycling our empties. Okay, easy enough. says an aluminum can is able to be returned to the shelf as a new can as quickly as 60 days after it's put into your recycling container. That is cool. That's really cool. And it says this, that recycling just one aluminum can saves enough energy to run a television for 3 hours. Okay, I'm sold. So they go on and they write what's a day in the life of an aluminum can, a recycled aluminum can. It says, 1, the customer takes the can to a recycling center or puts it into the recycling bin. The can is transported to a processing facility. A giant magnet lifts out cans that are made of metals such as steel. Since aluminum cans aren't magnetic, they drop down to a conveyor belt and they're gathered. The aluminum cans are shredded, washed, and turned into aluminum chips. The chips are melted in a large furnace. The melted aluminum is poured into molds. The molds are taken to a factory where they're melted into rolls of thin, flat sheets. From the sheets, manufacturers make new products, including new beverage cans, pie pans, license plate frames, and aluminum foil. Beverage companies fill the cans and deliver them to grocery stores for consumers to purchase. And then it all starts over again. The consumer takes the cans to a recycling center and the process just starts back over again. So from the time you finish the soda or the drink that's in the can and you throw it in a recycling bin, 60 days later, it could be back in your hand. So think about that when you're on the go and you really want a refreshing beverage and there is all the plastic bottle options, say at a gas station, try to reach for those aluminum cans and recycle them, because that's, insanely more environmentally friendly, but also, it's easy. You might not have the ability to screw the cap back on and put it in your bag, but, it's a step in the right direction, and it all is a lifestyle change, and it's all relative. If you can change that habit, then there's, others that you could potentially change as well. The next thing that I wanted to check out was the plastic straw epidemic. So right now, plastic straws are a very sort of hot button issue in my mind, just because, everyone's all of a sudden very concerned about plastic straws and what happens to them and where they go and how many we're using. And, I work at a restaurant, so, we put straws in everything, and I can't even imagine, I can't even begin to count how many straws we use a day, but, it's a lot. And, a lot of times people just take them right out of their drink and put them on the table. So what, I've started to do is not serving a straw with their drink, or, asking if they want one, just because then if they're just going to take it out of their drink anyways, then there's no point in giving one to them in the first place. And then it could be saved, and, we could try to cut down on our straws that way. Let's look into it. Okay, you guys, I just found the coolest thing ever. So I'm doing my research, I moved on to plastic straws, and I just typed in to Google the truth about plastic straws. And I scrolled down a little bit trying to find, a reasonable source, and I found a website that's called strawlessocean.org. So I clicked on that one, and on their homepage, there is a video of all different people, some celebrities and people that even include Neil deGrasse Tyson, and they're drinking water out of a plastic cup and a plastic straw. And then you see what I'm assuming is an octopus tentacle come and slap the cup right out of their hand and hit them in the face. And, it's very funny, and it really does drive home the point that, you know, we need to figure it out and we need to stop. And, you know, there's words right over these videos that says, take action for a strawless ocean, join the movement. So, you know, it goes on to state the problem that by 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. And then there's a call to action that says there's something you can do about it. Plastic straws are just one of many single-use plastics which end up in the ocean, polluting the water and harming sea life. Join the movement for a strawless ocean and take action against plastic pollution, starting with the plastic straw. All right. They have a hashtag stop sucking. That is very clever. All right, so then it has links for alternative straws, and yeah, so let's see. It says understanding plastic pollution. So what is this all about? Plastic straws are really bad for the ocean. It's estimated that we use over 500 million every day in America. And most of those end up in our oceans, polluting the water and killing marine life. We want to encourage people to stop using plastic straws for good. If we don't act now, by the year 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. All right, we've been over this. So, the question, aren't plastic straws recyclable? Most plastic straws are too lightweight to make it through the mechanical recycling sorter. They drop through sorting screens and mix with other materials that are too small to separate, contaminating recycling loads, or getting disposed as garbage. So what happens once they're all in the water? When plastic does make it to the ocean, it breaks down into smaller and smaller pieces. These are the microplastics, so plastic doesn't totally just biodegrade, or it doesn't dissolve in the water or anything like that. Over time it will break down, but it's going to break down into smaller pieces of plastic, which is why this is becoming such an issue, because these microplastics are eaten by fish and the fish mistake them as food. This plastic ends up in the fish system. That little fish that ate the microplastic is then eaten by a bigger fish and by a bigger fish and by a bigger fish, and then the whole food chain has these microplastics in their bodies. And when we eat those big fish, like grouper, mahi, all those big fish, we are eating plastic. We are eating plastic. We are. And that's disgusting. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be eating plastic. Moving on. They go on to say that as an item of convenience for the vast majority of us, we believe refusing the single-use plastic straw is the easiest and simplest way for everyone to take action today to address plastic pollution. I agree. The plastic straw is an item of convenience. The idea that we can be on the run and be on the go and, have our coffee with us, or, have our soda with us in the car and have it easily accessible, like that is a total item of convenience. And that is a great way that they stated it, as an item of convenience for the vast majority of us. They recognize that some people do need straws, but for the vast majority of us, there's no need to have a straw besides ease, convenience, laziness. I mean, there are a lot of alternatives to straws. One, you could just simply not use a straw, but if you're a person that really does like straws, they have aluminum straws, they have glass straws, steel straws, silicone straws, they have paper straws. There are enough alternatives that we don't need to be using straws.